founder of inspiringwomen.co today, and welcome to our Cancer Awareness Series, where we explore the emotional, physical, and financial impact of cancer. Firstly, a big thank you to Sanlam for partnering with Inspiring Women to raise breast cancer awareness in South Africa. We feel blessed to have the opportunity to impact the lives of South African women, and it wouldn't have been possible without Sanlam. So guys, without further ado, we have Charissa Bloomberg joining us today. She is known as a celebrity psychologist and integrity specialist. You might know her from appearances on Radio 702, Expresso, Cape Talk, just to name a few. Charissa, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jacques. I'm so honored and excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just so excited, Charissa. So let's give a user some context in terms of like why you're so passionate about fighting cancer.
Yes, Jacques, you know, my grandmother died of breast cancer, and she rests in peace, years and years ago, and had to have a double mastectomy. And years ago, we didn't have all the amazing technology that we have now. So it's become a passion of mine, just being in the field of being a psychologist, to be able to give people support through this hectic time of their life. So that's why I'm passionate, I think.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. You know, like even for me, like I've seen my grandmother and my grandfather pass away. I was next to their deathbed and kind of like just experiencing that. So I can definitely associate with what you're saying. Thank you so much for joining us on this, Charissa. So, you know, we really want to explore the psychological side with you today. And since you are the celebrity psychologist, you know, we definitely need to go there. So could you kind of just give us like a run through of like what happens like at that point when you get diagnosed with cancer? Like what is a process going to be like for you emotionally? And how can people prepare themselves throughout their process to know what kind of is happening to them?
Yes, Jacques. You know, when there's a diagnosis of cancer to a patient or to a family member, it has a profound effect on a person. It's a time that literally their life changes from that moment onwards. And it begins a long journey that can affect their health, their mental well-being, their physically, emotionally, financially, as you've said, and spiritually. So I'd like to talk through about some of those emotions, if you don't mind, of what happens. So the first thing we need to realize is there's absolute denial. So what I'm going to mention now are the 5 stages of grief that come from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, an amazing woman that did work in this field. The stages are, you may have heard of them: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So the first one is denial. That is the shock where you cannot believe it. And your first thoughts is the doctor must be wrong. Let's go and find another doctor. This cannot be happening. Or you'll go through the things, I'm a healthy person. This is absolutely impossible. Where's the mistake? Let's have another x-ray or whatever we did. But that denial is so important because that protects the person who's not really ready to go through the grieving process. And as psychologists will tell you, when a patient and a client is in denial, we'll never pull them out of denial. They need to stay in there as long as they need to be there. The next stage, Jacques, is anger. This is the first part of healing, where they are furious. They're furious with themselves, with God, with the universe, with everything. Why has this happened? And then there's the bargaining stage that, please God, cure me. Or then. If I take this diet, if I do this, then I will be cured. Or if I bargain and be a good person and do charity work, then God will, whatever it is, it's a bargaining process. And after the bargaining comes the absolute depression, when one knows, you know, there's nothing they can do. Then comes the depression, which is really, really, it's the grief, it's the loss of your previous life, of whatever it is, you know, you were focusing on is now changed. It's not necessarily the end of one's life, but there is a depression stage. And then comes the stage of acceptance, where you are okay with whatever it is you're going through. But the sad thing is, Jacques, that we do not know how long a person stays in each of these stages. And because you could stay in depression and then go back to anger. And here's the thing, it's very sad because your family is going through a different stage than you. So you could be in the stage of acceptance, and a person may even pass on in the stage of acceptance, but the entire family is still sitting on anger or bargaining, even denial.
Yeah, that
And
is so profound. Like, please, we go a little bit deeper in terms of that? Like, just that disconnect between the loved ones, the supporters, and the actual person going through that. Like, it's so fascinating what you just brought up there, Charissa. So please, can we go a little bit deeper in terms of that?
yes, Jacques, when the patient, we call them a patient, we call them client, but when a patient is diagnosed, then we have to be aware that they're not only dealing with their own horror of what's happened to themselves, but they're dealing with the reactions of family and friends and loved ones, and sometimes at work as well. So that is a lot for a patient to go through, and we'll talk about the support later. But also, what we need to be aware of when someone tells us that they have cancer or that they're going through, the issues and struggling with their health, and I'm generalizing here, do not know what to say. And often we say, oh, say your prayers, or go on this grape diet, or I heard about this, or if you meditate. And the person is meaning well, but what we're doing is we're projecting our own fears and thoughts around death, and we don't know how to help this person. And sometimes it's completely inappropriate, even condescending. So, Jacques, I want to talk about those people who hear the news. The best thing that you can do is to say, I am sorry, I'm here for you. How can I help? Are there any errands? Is there anything you need me to take care of? What can I do for you? Is a question that everybody else should be asking.
Yeah, that's very good. Like, even if you are like religious and you approach someone telling them that you're going to be praying for them, like it doesn't really do much for them. Like my mother-in-law says this thing that really reigns true. Like, instead of asking people like, can I do something for you, you would just go ahead and do something for them. So like, instead of saying like, hey, can I buy you some food, or can I get you some food, kind of help you through this stage, like, pitch up to these people, show them your support with your actions, because the words, they're trying to process this themselves. So you trying to push your support in the wrong way could have a bit of a devastating effect. So like that's so cool, Charissa. Can we just go a little bit deeper with that too? So like, how do we handle this disconnect between the stages for the loved ones and the person going through it?
Yes, I just want to go back and say your mother-in-law is absolutely completely correct, because the person, when we offer to actually say, can I do something for you, and they say, no thanks, I'm fine for now. and I love that. Don't ask. Pitch up with a homemade meal, pitch up with food, pitch up with something. Show your actions speak louder. Brilliant, Jacques. I love that. Yes.
I'm blessed to have a mother-in-law like that.
And I love to say I'm praying for you, because I do believe in that. But it's up to the person. So the different stages, Jacques, we don't know how long someone stays in a stage, and every person heals differently, and everybody processes it differently. So the patient can be stuck in an anger stage for a long time, lashing out at the world, lashing out at the universe, furious with God, the world, everything. And we don't know if it's weeks or months, but that part is so necessary for the healing before they can actually go on to the next stages. So if you can imagine a patient going through that and their family going through that, and everybody's angry. So nobody's really able at that point then to focus on, okay, let's find out about cancer. What can we do? How can we empower ourselves? Because we're so busy being angry. So it's extremely difficult, but if we can recognize the stage, it's far more empowering.
So it starts with awareness, like realizing what you're going through and what emotion you're feeling.
Yes, exactly. Awareness of that, and awareness of what the family is going through at that moment as well. And then possibly to get outside psychological help. Not everyone can can afford a psychologist and get support there. But maybe there's support in the church or a counselor or a friend or someone that one can actually speak to who can help them get through these stages and realize where they are. Because it's empowering to know where you are sitting, not meaning that you need to force you through to the next stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then even depression is also part of it, because once you get into the depression, then you can come out of that with acceptance and not get stuck there.
Mm.
But it's a long process, Jacques. There's no overnight fix. There's no quick fix at all.
Mm. So how does like stress or anxiety play in with the denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance? Like, what effect does stress or anxiety have on this?
So a huge amount of stress, because obviously the person is anxious and worried, and that doesn't help the healing process. So it has been found in research that the stress can actually make the tumor grow faster. So we have to look at the stress and anxiety and learn to contain it and do things that are going to nourish the soul, and eat properly, get enough sleep, get support, meditate if that's good for you, listen to music, exercise, maybe just gentle exercise, walking, being in nature. It is a highly provoking to have cancer, but it's not a death sentence. There are millions and millions of people walking around who are survivors of cancer. But how we're going to handle it mentally is going to have a huge impact. And that's why it's so crucial. I'm researching so much around stress, and I'm horrified, because a lot of us in the helping professions get so stressed and burned out at this time of year. But what stress does to our immune system and our metabolism and burnout and adrenal fatigue is a killer in itself.
Yes, just yesterday we spoke to Dr. James Laporta, where we discussed like how the mindset really influences your healing. So how does the mental side work with the physical side to kind of get you through this tough period in your time? And it's just so vital that you don't adopt a kind of victim mentality, and that you adopt the identity of being a survivor, so and when you adopt that identity, certain behaviors come to light. As an example, if you had a victim type of mentality, you will be much more inclined to be pulled back from everyone else that could support you. You would be, you would basically be isolated. Whereas you had a type of survivor mentality, you would actually go and look for ways to still go and find your enjoyment, still live life, But it's really, really important to make that switch and say, okay, cool, I am a survivor. I'm going to be pushing through this, and I'm going to be seeking support, and I'm going to be aware of the mindset that I'm in. What am I feeling today? Am I feeling denial? Am I feeling anger? Because all of these emotions, they were perfectly fine to feel. It's just being aware of what you feel. So what are some practical tips that you feel that would be relevant to people kind of going through cancer right now, like that they can implement that will make a difference for them, Charissa?
Yes. So well said. Just before we share some of those tips, going back to that mindset, it's so easy to fall victim. And we are sitting here, as healthy as we so-called think we are, and it's very hard to get into someone else's shoes. And if someone's listening to this and had cancer and said, yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
victim, but it's fine to be a victim at some point, but we need to just be conscious of it. Like today, I'm going to be in victim mode, but I'm going to pull myself out of it. And by tomorrow, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to start looking at the impact of my thoughts. Because if we're going to start thinking it's a death sentence, I'm going to die, this is the end of it, it will influence, because your body reacts to your mind, to everything that the mind is thinking. The body has a reaction on. So that's why it's so crucial to get support, because that's the first tip. Because if we're getting support, those that don't get support, Jacques, are known to have a higher suicide rate. It's just as simple as that. That's what statistics say. So to get support, to talk, to communicate, you have to be able, the tips I want to give is to talk to the family, talk about your fears, talk about anything, talk about what you're all going through. It's crucial. So many times families try to hide what they're going through and from each other, but we need to talk about it so there's no unsaid conversations and confusion at any point. So support, and as I've said before, watch the toxic thoughts, because your mind could be your worst killer. And Jacques, I want to say again, in terms of encouragement, I know so many survivors. I personally know of three. One who's gone through breast cancer. She is an amazing TV producer. I hope she'll be producing my show. I know another amazing, I didn't get the permission to mention their names, but they're quite open with this. I know an amazing motivational speaker who's had a tumor and had half his brain cut out, and he's brilliant. And I also know someone struggling with lung cancer who's survived. So, but what they all have in common is they refuse to be a victim, and they, in their mind, they knew they were going to recover. That was it for them. They were going to fight this with everything in their body. So mental state, food that you put into your soul, into your body. Again, I want to say this again, some kind of exercise, some kind of where you sit down and you calm the mind, music, anything around that. But the most important thing is also have a good relationship with your doctor. Your doctor needs to know what's going on with you all the time. And the doctor needs to know your anxieties and your financial struggles or whatever it is, because that's going to impact on your health. So a good relationship with your doctor. And Jacques, read everything that you can on the topic. Be knowledgeable, empower yourself. I think those are the crucial tips that stand out for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Charissa, so obviously you're more aligned with like you're a celebrity psychologist and you're an integrity specialist. So like tell us a little bit about that. Like what is that like for you?
Yes, so thanks, Jacques. So I'm fighting the fight to get integrity, to the power of integrity to rebuild our nation. So many people have that value of integrity in their work and business place, but they don't really know what it means. So just to unpack it briefly, and the connection with this diagnosis is, so having integrity is being professional. It's speaking your truth. It's doing what you say you're going to do. It's about doing the right thing for yourself and for everyone. And of course, what the right thing is to do is another question. So for me, that is huge. If we all did the right thing, we'd have a better world to live in. But the link for me is, with this diagnosis, is to do the right thing for yourself. So be in truth with yourself. And if the right thing, speak your truth. Be accountable to yourself first and foremost. And that's crucial, Jacques. That really is. We cannot be lying to ourselves and to others. So do the right thing for yourself, whatever that is for you to do, as long as you're in your truth about it.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And Charissa, how would anyone go about learning more about you and what you do?
Thanks, Jacques, for that. That they can look on one of my websites, which is www.integrityforum.co.za. Everything's there about the work that I'm doing and the TV and the radio work. And also on Facebook under Charissa Bloomberg. I've got quite a big following there. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But Facebook is big, Jacques. I prefer to work on Facebook. And yes, thank you for letting me mention that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Charissa, and thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for sharing your insights, and we're so thrilled to have someone approach us from a psychological perspective. And guys, make sure you check out Charissa. She is amazing. Like this short time that I have with her today doesn't express how amazing she is. So definitely go and check her out. She stands for something super amazing. It's about doing the right thing. And, I'm also passionate about what she is passionate about in terms of integrity. I think that's something really cool. So give her a shout out. If you listen to this, just say hi. And if you got anything out of this call today, share that with us. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for listening today. To learn more about the cancer awareness drive that we're pushing on inspiringwomen.co.za, you can navigate to inspiringwomen.co.za/BCA. All right, and you can find all the episodes related to the cancer approach in there, which will then explore the psychological, financial, and physical aspects of cancer. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you again soon.